Thank you. Thank you. I'm a bit speechless, actually. Thank you, Sean, and everyone who made that film. All those lovely pictures of my kids when they were small, and my mum when she was alive, and my dad, and all the crazy things we've done. And Jenny when she had no hair with me, which I had forgotten. And thank you, Peter, my officially oldest friend. And Theo, who I've travelled so far, but there's so many others who I've known for a very long time in this room, who have been with me as I've experienced it just in my life, but also those key moments, those important moments. So when Deb said, "What are you going to do for your 60th?" It felt like I wasn't going to get away with what I normally say, which is, "Oh, it's fine, let me just not do anything." And it felt like I wanted to do something which was authentic to this journey that's been me. And the journey that's been me, that my friends have described and you've seen a bit of, and all of you know in the way that you've interacted with me. And it also felt like I want it to just be me. And what I've been trying to do with my books and work is to break down that barrier between this name, this guy on a video, and me, as I actually am, and for them to be the same thing. So it felt like, well, why don't we just say, look, if you've known me for years, or you've known me a week, or you don't even know me, you've just read my book, and you'd like to come, it would be such a privilege for you to be here and be part of this event. So what I would like to do is, excuse me, what I want to do for a little bit, not too long, and then we're going to do something together, and then we're going to dance and hang out and chat and just be alive. I just want to start by saying the biggest thing that I see at 60 is this enormous gratitude. This app's just so big I can't begin to put it into words. Sometimes I think, when I hear people who've had near-death experiences, one of the things that happens very often is that you see the whole of your life. And I always think that must be a moment of just to see it, to really see it, to really see what we've been experiencing all this time. From that, all the way through to this. Okay. So that's the biggest thing I want to say first of all, is just how lucky I am, and how lucky I am I have you in my life, and all the people that are here from years or from recently. More than anything, for Debbie, who rescued me, and has, my aunt Thelma, who can't be here tonight, who's my mum, sister. Whenever we get together, she looks at me and she goes, "How did you do that? I don't know how you do that." And brought family into my life and all of that. And for Paddy, for making Debbie possible. And it's led to now. And the biggest thing I wanted to do was I want to do two things. One, I gather together my people from my life and go, thank you. Really, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. But I also wanted to talk about the future. Because, as my dear friends have said so eloquently, what my life has been about, my particular journey, right from the age of 12. So the conservative bit was before my awakening. And everything changed. Before that, I can remember when I was 11, I was a young conservative, and I got invited up. I was so active that the local MP, he was a Conservative MP, invited me up to the House of Commons for a dinner. And I remember the richest man in the biggest man in Yeovil, Mr. Pittard, he ran Pittard's glove factory, coming up and getting me to autograph his dinner invite, because he said, one day you're going to be a Conservative Prime Minister, my boy.
There's still time! There may be a vacancy.
But shortly after that, I wandered up a hill by our hometown, a hill which some of you have been on with me, and sat on the top of that hill, as I would do with my dog, and looked at the mystery of existence, and something went pop. And there was this profound oneness with everything, and this enormous love, just crying and a sense of coming home and all the things which you know, and there it was. And at that moment, everything changed, because I knew I touched something which would be the rest of my life. And it has been. The rest of my life has been, how can I get back to that? How can I go deeper into that? How can I share that? Because in that is everything. In that is everything. And how can I understand it? How can I live my life in the light of that? And one way or another, through all these things, I'm doing that ever since. And the very first thing I did when I came down the hill was write about it, because that's what I do. I create things. That's what I've done. I've done this for 60 years. I've just created just so much stuff. How lucky have I been that somehow I've managed to get away with that. I've got away with, I've never had a job. I've just created things non-stop. Hours and hours of every sort of music. There was Lena's here somewhere where, we were at a brass section. We were just like the studios and just making stuff and more stuff, and 35 books and shows and just mad everything. And all behind all of it was this. How can we get this? How can we... And the first thing I did was wrote a play, and it just struck me when Peter was talking, Peter was in that play. He was in that play, and it was very controversial, of course, because that's what I do too. And it was in a church, but it was a theatre, and it was called The Wrong Way, and it was about how everything we're doing is the wrong thing. It was going through the whole of history in a kind of surreal way, going, it's the wrong way, it's the wrong way, and it's really about love. And it was controversial because it was all done by kids, and I wrote it and directed it, and Pete was in it, and it got on the TV, and it was just packed, but night after night it was just packed, and it had swearing in, so it was kids swearing in church. So I was like, oh my God, because some of it was set in Northern Ireland because the Troubles were happening then, and that was where we're doing this the wrong way it ended up. And my mum, God bless her, had put this script away in that box of things that mums keep. And so when she died, I found it. And honest to God, the last paragraph could have been from one of my books now. In a way. It was just that same. So the love, I think, has stayed the same. And I can't say thank you to them in the room, but they know. I just have to say now, just talking about my mum, just the gratitude to my parents is overwhelming, that they allowed me, that my dad was an old Tory grum, but he just allowed me to live this life that I've lived, and just supported me and helped me, and God. And here I am at 60, still feeling like I'm 30, 18 probably. And it feels like all of that has come together. And I'm doing exactly what I came to do, if you know what that means. It feels like, I've arrived. And I arrived with Soul Story. It's like, that's it. And now what I'm doing now is trying to pull all that together. So when I wanted to do something for my 60th, what I wanted to do was to gather together friends old and new and say, thank you, I love you, thank you for my life. And this is what I think is happening next for me. And I want to share it with as many people as I possibly can, because I think it's a beautiful thing and I can't believe it's happened. And that is to pull all of the work I've been doing with awakening and with philosophy and understanding what this is together. And to give it a name and the practices into one thing, which you can then look at and go, ooh, I don't like it, or I do like it, or it exists. And the name I've decided to give it is unividualism. And that comes from the idea of a univigil. So I want to talk to you a bit now about where I see Tim Freak going in the future, and see what you think of it. I make up words because there's no words for what I want to say. What I think is happening is that we are evolving from individuals into univigils. And univigils are individuals that are conscious of unity. The whole of the philosophy that I've been working on for the last whole period is an evolutionary philosophy, which goes, this thing we're in has been happening for 13.8 billion years to get us to this. You know, one of the things that blows my mind is to go, 13.8 billion years ago, what existed was hydrogen, pretty much, a bit of helium. And as my friend Brian Swim says, if you take, what we've learned is, he said, I love the way he puts it, he says, what we've discovered is, if you take hydrogen and you wait long enough, it learns to sing opera. And that's what's happened. It's now, hydrogen has become us talking about hydrogen. That's the vision of what we're in. And the latest thing that's happening in that process is that I think we are becoming univigils. And I think the evidence for that is everywhere. And I've seen so much of it in my own lifetime. The expansion of the circle of compassion has been enormous. There's never been a time, one of my hats, mainly due to Peter, has been historian. And there's never been a time in the whole of history remotely like this, where people have cared about other people on the other side of the earth, which they'll never ever meet. They're not of the same tribe, they're not of the same culture. There's no reason. In the past, you would have not only not cared about them, you would have been quite happy to take everything they've got. But actually, huge numbers of us now genuinely care, because that sense of unity has reached out to embrace all human beings. Not just with human beings, but with the natural world. Never before have so many people cared about the natural world. We care about animals who are endangered, who would tear us to shreds in a moment. And we'll never see them, apart from in a zoo, maybe. But we care. This is cross-species compassion. We don't notice it happen, but it's huge. We have changed. We are changing. And behind that, underneath that, there's an increasing number of people, and I know this directly from my own work, who are waking up to a fundamental oneness with the universe, that we're not just these isolated little skin bags. That actually, on a deeper level, there's one of us. Everything is one. And what comes with that is this love, this enormous love, because love is how oneness feels. That's why I love you, because I feel a oneness with you. And it's just like that with everyone we feel oneness with. Love is how oneness feels. So I think what I've wanted is to develop a philosophy which can explain and support that evolutionary process. And I've got the beginnings of it. And I think it's pretty strong, because I've pushed it, as like Theo and people are saying, I've pushed it really, 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 really hard, and I push it hard every day. And it's still standing. In fact, it's getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And there's some very simple ideas that underlie it, and I'm going to share a few of them with you tonight, and then, you know, there's loads of stuff you can follow up and find out really what I'm going to say, because it's a complete worldview. And I think, you know, I did this big TED talk, 100 and, what was it? How many people was it? Massive, just, yeah, 1,700 people, something like that, in America, just come back. And I ended it in a very cheeky note going, look, I think a new understanding of what reality is coming. And I really do. And I think when it comes, it's going to be as big a transformation as the arising of science was 400 years ago. And it will have the same impact. And if you could imagine someone coming here now from that time and seeing this, And the fact that I've got microphones and Bruce has flown in from America and, you know, or Lars, or, you know, or we can connect on the internet, or all of that, it would be unbelievable. And I think as significant a transformation is starting, but we are the seeds of that. And this will not be about how things work. It's about what this is. And it's not just about cause and effect and the lower levels of evolution, the first levels. It's about the higher levels of evolution, which is this experience we're having right now of the psyche or the soul. So underlying the philosophy that I'm exploring is this recognition that, look, what's happened for the last 13.8 billion years is we've gone from very primitive states of matter into the creation of the whole universe, that took 10 billion years, into the whole ecology of life. How extraordinary is that? All of life comes from one, well, I mentioned Bruce, he's working on how the hell that happens, and he's come across to be here. And then from that has come this experience we're having of sensation, and then consciousness, and then something completely remarkable, which we just take for granted, but let's for a moment not. We're having the experience of psyche. You're having an experience of this other dimension made up of thoughts and images and memories, and it's not made of matter, and you're in it all the time. Peter said, all that time ago, our relationship started by me going, I'm trying to work out whether we've got the soul or not. Well, I've come to a conclusion. And the conclusion is, well, what's happened really, actually doing the work with him on the Jesus Mysteries, I went back into what do these words fucking mean? And I went right back into the Greek, and they had this idea that your body and a soul. And the body is nice and easy. That's your physical, and then there's the psyche. And the word psyche, which we use now, it just means soul. The soul is what you are. You're experiencing it right now. You could never not be experiencing soul. It's the dimension in which you're hearing the meaning of these words. One of the things I love to do, try this, is just go, look, you're experiencing always body and soul. You're experiencing a flow of sensation, which is your body, and you're flowing a flow of imagination, which is your soul. You're always experiencing that. That's what you are. One is made of matter, one is not in your experience. Have a look. But the old teaching that your body and soul, if you get rid of all the theology over the top, is a statement of the obvious. It's just a statement of what's in front of you all the time. You're those two things. Oh yes. You're something you're something biological, and you're something other. So if you look at me now, if you look at it with your sensations, you can see that what you're witnessing here is a monkey wearing clothes, making funny noises. But in psyche, in soul, you're discerning meaning, because that's where meaning arises. So this whole process of evolution we're in has gone from primitive matter up to non-material soul. That's what's happened. And I think if we can understand that properly, and I we're going to have to get into this another time, but I think if you could define this properly, we can heal the division between science and spirituality, actually. One of the great problems for me when Pete says I push things is like, what I see I see that we're trying to heal that division right now, but I don't think it's successful. And the reason it's not successful is because the great truths of spirituality are being missed out. Yeah, it's easy to go, it's all one. Okay, science says that, spirituality says that, yeah, done. It's easy to go to the quantum world where things are a bit weird and going, that's weird, maybe that's why spirituality works. I don't think that works either. But this evolutionary picture, I think, can say to you, look, what's happened is we have evolved onto more and more emergent levels. And on these more emergent levels, soul has come into existence. And with soul has come a whole load of properties. Just like with life came a whole load of things that never existed before. Senses, eating, fear, all sorts. That never existed before. With the existence of soul, a whole load of other things arose. Really important other things which we're in. So I want to throw at you 2 or 3 of those. And just because that feels all I can do right now. So one of the things that with that question of what is this, I want to give you an answer to that tonight, at least for you to think about. What this is we're in, it seems to me, is the realization of potentiality on ever more emergent levels. That's what this is. That is what this is. And look, it's happening now. Every moment, when I look at the moment, look with me, every moment is the realization of a new potentiality that's never happened before. Every one. Every one. And every one builds on what's just happened. That's its nature. And it's been doing that for 13.8 billion years. And because each one builds on what's been before, it becomes more emergent, more emergent, more emergent. And then within that process, there's moments where it goes, poof, and you get a whole new thing come into existence, which has never existed before. And it's through all of those million steps that we got from hydrogen to me having this conversation with you. That's how we've done it. And it hasn't stopped. It hasn't arrived. It's happening right now. And it's happening now fastest in the soul. That's where most of the action's taking place. And because that's what's brought all of this. Thoughts, imagination has created all of this. And it's also where this philosophy is coming from right now. So, what that leads me to is two things. One is, look, if we want to look to understand the purpose of this, maybe we can look at what the nature of it is. So my suggestion is, rather than seeing life as having a purpose, my suggestion is that purpose is actually integral to what this is that we're in. Because its purpose is to realize itself on ever more emergent levels. That's what it's been doing for all of these billions of years. So what does that mean for you and me? Well, I just think it means the same. It means we can try and realize our potentials on ever more emergent levels. We can look inside ourselves and go, well, how can we individually and collectively, how can we bring something greater into existence? How can we be more? What is the greater thing? And for me, the greater thing is to wake up to this deeper sense of who we are and this big love. And then to bring that in any way we can. That's what we're doing. So a little thought, just because it's my birthday. One of the things is, when I look at this moment, I see it has these two qualities. I've mentioned them already, but I want to just look at them one more time. One is that every moment contains within it implicitly the potentiality for everything that could happen. And every moment contains within it, implicitly, everything that has already happened. So what I would like to say as I come to be 60 is, it seems to me the past has not gone anywhere. Nothing has been lost. Actually, the past is here with us. This is the past. This is the past meeting the possible. That's what it always is. And everything that has ever been exists here. Everything. Without it, this moment would not be this moment. The moments we met, the moments we first, the moment we learned to speak, all those pictures, the little Tim and all the crazy shit and all of that, and then back, and then the evolution of humanity, and then back, and then back, and everything is here. Which means, it seems to me, that this thing we're in is not in time, but it's made of time. It's actually made of the fabric of the past. And that therefore what you're meeting right now is everything that Tim has been for 60 years. And I'm meeting everything you've been. That's what's happening. And that therefore we exist in each other. And this will always exist in us. It'll always be us. Final thought. This is a big thought to say quickly, but I'm going to try. I think what has happened in this evolutionary process is that a whole domain of existence, which spirituality has been exploring forever, has evolved from the lower levels of existence. That's essentially what I think has happened. And we are in all of it right now. And what marks out soul, what marks out psyche, just as in the world of atoms and physics and biology, things relate through cause and effect. thank goodness. But in the soul, in the world of the psyche, the imagination, things relate through meaning, forming narratives, conceptual narratives. The suggestion I want to play with is that actually basic matter has evolved into a story. It's evolved into a story, which is why when I meet you I go, hello, how's your story? Wow, I haven't seen you and my story for ages, and your story's been carrying on all that time. Because I don't think it's just that we tell stories, I think that we are stories. We are made of everything we've done, every thought we've had, everything we've been. That's what we are. That's why they matter to us so much. So that the past is accumulated of that story. So here I am at 60, looking back over my story with all of you beautiful, beautiful, beautiful people who've come from over the world to be here, going, wow, how lucky am I? Because I have been, I mean, there's been some shit bits. But overwhelmingly, I know how lucky I am. And because of that, I just want to do everything I can to take out a positive, hopeful message. I want to be able to stand up and say the simple things. Here's the thing. When I enter the deep awake state, which I did when I was 12, which I do so often, which many of you have been with me as we've dived into it, which we're going to go into in half an hour. What arises for me is these deep intuitions, which is really the only thing I claim to know. The rest is just like, this is my best guess, guys, what do you think? And the things I want to say are so childlike and naive. Those things. There's a confession in Soul Story near the end where I go, look, really, all this intellectual scaffolding is to hold up these naive statements. Like, despite everything, life is good. Something good is going on here. Life is good, and death is safe. It's okay. I know it doesn't look, it is. And what really matters is love. And there's a place in me, I hope there's a place in you where I just know that's true. But how can you hold up your head and say things like, yes, I think life is good, death is safe, and all that matters is love, in Glastonbury, without sounding like, oh, for fuck's sake. It just, so what I've wanted and what I hope I can offer you, should you want to come and play with me, is I think we can have an intellectually robust philosophy, and that we need that. It's not good enough to think in unclear ways, because you will act in unclear ways. Which can actually mean we can change the world we're in. Actually change it. And I think we can hold our heads up and go, no, actually, it is a perfectly reasonable and rational and sound thing to say, life is good. This is why. Because it's evolving towards the good. Death is safe, yes, because the evolution of the psyche saw the evolution of immortality, and that's not a crazy, wacky idea. It makes sense if you think that through like this, and it can make sense of more of your experience. And that, yes, life is magic, and great things happen, and synchronicities occur. And, oh God, there's been so many I could tell you. Many have happened with you. Because life is also a story. It's also cause and effect, but it's become a story, which is why it's like a dream sometime, and then others it's not. Because it's both of those at once. And we can get this. And that if we do, if that new worldview comes in, as I think it will, over this next period, however long that is, it will change how human beings experience their lives, and it will change how we live together, profoundly. So the reason I've wanted to do this is to go, right, okay, so this is it for me now. I want to do everything I can to share these ideas as best as I can, and I want to do it in a way which is free from the old spiritual ideas. I don't want to be talking about enlightenment and all of that stuff. I don't want the Eastern guru thing. I don't want to pretend that I'm something I'm not. I'm going to be Tim, just as he is, an evolutionary thing, gets things wrong, get things right. You can talk to me, mates, find out the shit. And then together, maybe we can enter this deep space and take something beautiful out into the world.
Woo! Yeah. Woo!
So, here's what I'd like to do, my lovers, as they say around here. I'm going to tell you a few things which are on this board, which I need to tell you because I'm going to always forget. And then we're going to take a short break. And then I want to do something with everyone. If you're up for that. Because it's like, everything I do is based on opposites. It's on paralogical thinking, which means, you know, all the philosophy is rooted in, I don't know, mystery. And all of the ideas have to be complemented by just a direct seeing, an experience. And I want to share with you something I've been doing for almost 20 years now, which is really, really powerful and very, very simple, and many of you have done with me. So what we're going to do is, we are going to move all these chairs in a minute, and there'll be a toilet break. There's some water. Did we get water? Over there you can get some water. Don't go to the bar, because it won't be enough time. And we're going to do something straight away, and you won't be able to have a drink when you're doing it, and you'll have too many things. We're going to do this thing. It'll take about half an hour, and under that probably. And then we're going to kick back, play the music, go to the bar, hang out, sit together, talk, chill out. Okay, that's the plan. So let me describe while you're all together what we're going to do, and then there's a better chance it'll happen. Oh, something this is stuff that I always forget. On the invite it said, hey guys, don't bring gifts, but if you want to give a donation to the ICU, please do. And there's a table at the back there with a little basket which you can pop that in if you want to. The ICU, please, if you don't know what that is, please check it out. I'm not going to talk about it now. Check it out on my website. It's the International Community of Univigils, which is me. It's ICU, kind of nice. And what that is about gathering together people who are interested in univigilism. And we had our first meeting, and it was literally international. It was like, it were 2 people in the same country. It was all over the world. It was amazing. Online, about 70 of us, 60 of us, whatever it was. Please, come along. There's another one happening at the end of the next month. You know, check it out on my website and see if that's of interest to you, and if it is, come and play. Because what I'm in the process of doing now is trying to gather together people who go, oh yeah, I see what this is. Yes, I want to be in. So the ICU is not it's not about joining and getting anything. It's about joining and giving something. It's about contributing to taking this forward. And everything I'm doing is on that basis now. So what we're going to do is, at my retreats, which many of you have been at, I do this amazing thing on a Saturday night where we sit together in front of somebody and we just connect eye to eye. Heart to heart. We just look at each other. We just, hello, invite each other in, hold hands, and for some minutes. And it's a beautiful experience. And then we move around, and then there's somebody else, and we do that. And then we move around, there's somebody else, we do that. And you just do it, and you do it, and you do it, and it's just, it is the most exquisite thing. Isn't it? It is, isn't it? Who's done it here with me? Yeah, oh, yeah. It's exquisite. Okay, so tonight we're not going to be able to do that. There's too many of us and it's a party. But I'm going to try an experiment which I've never done before. So I don't know if it's going to work, but I want you to work with me and let's try and make it work. This is a big love party. I want to build the big love now, and then we can just dance the big love until it's palpable. We're going to move the chairs. They're going to be a big space. We'll push them around the sides where people can sit. If you don't want to do this, there is no pressure. So if someone's come and they're just feeling like, whoa, I don't want to do that, then you're fine, just sit on the edges. That's fine. So what we're going to do is, don't please get lost because I need to gather everyone together. What we're going to do is we're going to gaze with each other, but in a more anarchic sort of way. And much shorter, and standing up. So Barnaby, my dear friend Barnaby at the back there, he's the one with beard and glasses and bald head, unlike me. He's going to MC this because I want to take part. And I want to be inside with you. What's going to happen is simply this, my friends. There's one rule, first rule, and I really invite you, including the people at the edges, please keep with us. for the length of the duration of what we do, no talking. Just hold the speaking. And then when we're ready, I'll call everyone together and I'm going to invite you to just find somebody and just be ready with them. And then what we'll do is we'll keep a little bit of space in the middle of the room if we can. And if anyone has trouble standing, see one of the people who are helping and we'll put you on a chair in the middle with another chair so that you can do this sitting down. But the rest of us will be standing and you'll be with someone, and Barn, we're going to play some music, we're going to play some music throughout because music's magic, and you're going to be with someone, and what I invite you to do is just hold their hands and invite them in. When we start, just invite them in and connect. And all I'm going to say tonight is this. See both the paradox of their individuality, this beautiful body and soul, this unique expression of life, just like you. Just see that, oh look, it's you've been on this journey, crazy, isn't it? You know, all of that. And then also be open to seeing the universality behind the individuality, that you can look through and you can see that it's the universe looking back at you. Does that make sense? And just sit with that individual connection. Just sit with two and one. And you're not going to have long. It's going to be like 30 seconds or something. So, dive in. It's going to go quick. And then when the time is up, you'll hear Barn tell you, okay. And it's a big love party tonight, so give them a hug. Because why not? And look around you and find somebody else. And link up with them. And then you'll be doing the same thing, and then Barn will say, okay, and then give them a hug, and then find somebody else. And if you're looking around your area and you're thinking, oh, I've done it with all these people, or you're all in your own, the centre is going to be the find a partner place. So if you haven't got anyone, you go to the centre, find someone, and then come out again, okay? And the first person you meet, and you're going to get the chance to connect with a lot of people here tonight over the next 20-25 minutes, and see how that feels. And then we'll dance. Does that sound okay? Any questions? Everyone okay? All right. Let's have a little break. Just a loo break. I'm going to move these.